Your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.
Hello and thanks for staying with us. This is Asset Television and welcome to our newspaper review segment. I have with me to do justice on newspaper review today Mr. Afak, a veteran broadcaster. You are welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I also have Kunle Awoniyi. He's also a journalist based in Abuja and a broadcaster too. Kunle, you are welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start with Nigerian Tribune, where we have a series of stories there, and we'll start by saying about reform, where the former Vice President Alhaji Abubakar Atiku says, I would have done what I would have done differently. The story is credited to Atiku. I don't know what really he meant by what he would have done differently. Are you aware of what he would have done differently if he had become president of this country?
Well, for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to say what I would have done differently, it applies to everybody. If Mr. A is in office and I'm not the one in office, I can as well come up what I would have done differently. But in terms of what is on ground now, let's look at it from angle of what we would have done differently, positively or negatively. Everybody is talking about what is happening with this present government now. They are not fully pleased by the way the whole thing is going. I'm sure what Atiku is trying to say is to convince people, oh, if you had voted me, maybe things would have been better than the way it is this way. But, well, we're talking about something being practical now. He is not in office. He did one or two things as the vice president under President Olusegun Obasanjo. I think he was in charge of the economic reform then.
In fact, even the right idea, you can see the right idea. Nigerians rejected your ideas in 2023, so, credited to presidency.
It applies. So, well, I think he is entitled to his statement, what I would have done differently. I can as well say I would have done things differently based on what is happening now that people are not pleased with.
What's your opinion on that?
Well, if we're to go by what the presidency is saying, if you look back, the economy of this country was a lot better when Atiku held sway. And hence, for the presidency to say what he's saying probably amounts to nothing. I don't want to believe that Nigerians rejected Atiku in 2023.
That's what the presidency is saying.
I mean, well, they have the right to reply. But the bottom line is that once upon a time in this country, we thought opposition has died. But from time to time, we get Peter Obi, we get Atiku Abubakar coming out, to say things as far as the polity is concerned. It goes to tell us that, yes, we may not be seeing very active position as far as the political parties are concerned, but as it were, their political leaders are doing at least something. The bottom line is that many Nigerians are of the opinion that, yes, the three presidential candidates actually had agreed that they will remove fuel subsidy.
Fine. That was the common line between all of them.
That was the common denominator. Atiku Abubakar said the same thing, Peter Obi said the same thing, and the current president said the same thing. But I think where they tend to differ is that they would have removed subsidy in piecemeal, not the approach that the current president, came with. So basically, I think going through that is what he means by these are some of the things he would have done differently.
No, but removing the fuel subsidy is not because the president removed subsidy. What Atiku is saying now, you would have put some palliative in place.
Naturally,
before you now remove the subsidy.
Standing at the Eagle Square on May 29th, the very moment he
and he said it example, it was not in his speech.
Well, that's what we were made to understand. In the course of his speech, the next thing we had was subsidy gone. Now, I can tell you it had a ripple effect. That was where I stopped watching the speech because I was actually watching. But immediately he made that pronouncement, what I did was I looked for the key of my
Nigerians
car.
poured out to the filling station.
That's it. I rushed to the filling station. And I can assure you, before I even got to the filling station,
You met a queue.
the queues were building up. Now that was the effect. And we really haven't gotten any reprieve from then right through to where we are today. I can assure you that PMS, we all know, its importance to all economies around the world. The current hardship being experienced in Nigeria today is as a result of that one Ross executive pronouncement that he made. Is it working? Is it not working? We were told a few weeks ago that these reforms will mature in another 15 years. I can assure you, a country of over 200 million people, and you are asking that we should wait for another 15 years before these reforms will begin to mature. It's not, in my opinion, the right way to go. The bottom line is the current administration needs to come out and tell Nigerians that this and this and this is what we are putting in place towards saying that we take out the Nigerian economy from the current.
No, we are talking about this reform by article now. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, Dangote is saying that our petrol, that is their petrol, is cheaper than those being imported.
Well, the bottom line is that it is expected to be cheaper. The bottom line is, if you look at it, the cost of the landing cost as usually imputed in this product is has been taken away because it's from within our territory.
He's talking about 900 and something. That is supposed to, that's the pump 998 as the pump price. But this is what we have now from Dangote.
That's right.
1,000 plus.
Well, the thing is this: in a deregulated economy, he can say what he has to say, but you and I know that. Imagine we had pipelines where these petroleum products can.
Nigeria, I can tell you, Nigeria had pipelines.
Well, we had, but are they working? Are they in
Fine,
such
that's
a condition now that we? I mean, okay, look at what you used
There's
to
a pipeline from Warri to Kaduna.
Yes, I'm aware of that. But the bottom line is that are they in good standing? Because, I mean, you and I know that these pipelines have not been in use
Maybe
for
they have been
quite some time.
vandalized.
It's possible they've been vandalized and what have you. There is so much to be done as far as that is concerned. Back in those days, in the early 80s, petroleum products even used to be ferried across the country by train. But it's no longer the case today. You can see the deplorable state of Nigerian roads. Why? Because of the heavy haulage of lifting petroleum products from Lagos, from Port Harcourt, and from other parts of the country to other parts of the country.
Do you believe that Dangote's fuel will be cheaper or is cheaper than that of being imported?
Just as Mr. Jagden had said, common sense. When you have something here, Dangote is producing, and you still insist on importation, there must be something hidden. And the major problem, let's face it as it is, NNPC is the issue behind all this. Because there's a way you might want to do something if you want to do it right. If there are groups of people, there are cabals there that want to frustrate your efforts, no matter what you bring to the table, they won't allow it to work. So at first, when we started hearing Dangote is coming up, all of us were like, when would that be?
We were happy.
We're happy. When Dangote came on board, we saw what happened at first as if, so what is even the difference? Now he has come to say, this is what it takes. Even if the amount they are importing and the amount Dangote releases from his own refinery is the same, does it not make sense we patronize our own here and let's see how when Dangote starts, we'll see another person, then we'll talk about this our refinery. If there is nothing hidden with NNPC or in NNPC, why do they insist on importation? So NNPC, as far as I'm concerned, they are still the major problem behind this. If at the end of the day they give Dangote free hand to operate and we'll see that there is no changes, we'll say, oh, so all what you have been saying from time is not real.
However, do you think if Dangote was allowed to operate freely by the NNPCL, Nigeria would have had a relief from there?
I think if by the way they've been projecting Dangote, you see, it's just like you have not tried something. Jagdin said something as in early 80s, when we have enough, even train.
Yeah.
Okay, all those are collapsed now. What is wrong in we making a move, having a trial? We try our own. Does it work? It's just like what we were saying at the time when the government was saying they had, was it 160 something million that they want to buy vehicles for the lawmakers, House of Assembly members,
yes.
and you will go and bring all these things to the country. Why we have our own innocent vehicle here, patronizing innocent will
and
bring hope. And yes, we have all those ones. Peugeot, we can even say maybe it's not functioning the way it used to be in the 80s, but innocent is on ground. It will create more employment, it will create several opportunities for people, and you prefer going abroad. Is it because of the people that it will be contracted to for what they will get? Nothing wrong in trying Dangote. And if we see that Dangote is not giving us what is expected of him, by then we must have had one or two people that are coming up. That will be competition. But the major thing, if we are ready, the truth is they should do something about NNPC.
Yeah, still on the last story we are going to take from Tribune, we have police arrest 113 Chinese Malaysians, 17 Nigerians for cybercrime and hacking. What will you say about that?
Well, as it were, I'm happy that this story made it at least to the front line, because there is so much that is going on that as a country, if this does not happen, you may not even know what is going on. You can see the backlash as a result of the upgrades by a few banks. I want to believe it's all in an effort to see that some of these hacking activities are mitigated. You know, cybercrime is as local as it is international.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that in most instances, you don't even have to stay in Nigeria and perpetrate same.
You can do it anywhere.
It can be done anywhere. It's a borderless crime. So for these people to have been arrested, I think it's a good one. The whole idea is what next? You know, before you know it, it may become a diplomatic problem between Nigeria, China, Malay, and the other countries involved. But the bottom line is that our security must see that they follow this thing through to the very end.
But these ones were arrested in Nigeria here.
That's
And
what
look
I'm-
at the number, 113
That's
Chinese.
That is those that were
It's-
caught. That is even those that were caught. You know, the truth is our borders are very porous. And the fact that as a Chinese citizen you can be given visa on arrival, a lot of people have trooped into our country, some with no known address. And some of them, if you look at it, their being here is not for good. It's to fleece, is to see that they decapitate us as a people, and hence we have to be more vigilant. The bottom line is any foreigner operating any form of business in Nigeria, our regulatory agencies must put the searchlight on them, just like local local manufacturers we have. The whole idea is that we need to secure our country. You can imagine with so much information out there in space, if they hack into a bank, imagine they hack into the CBN. You and I know what
That would be
what
devastating.
I mean, that would be very, very devastating.
Very devastating.
Imagine they hack into our defense industries.
Yeah.
These are very critical sectors of the economy that we cannot afford to play with. And hence, I was happy when I saw the report, but I hope that the Nigerian security apparatus will follow same through and through.
Kule, what will you have to say about this?
113 Chinese being arrested by police,
Including Malaysians
Malaysians.
and 17 Nigerians.
Okay, 17 Nigerians. That is the news. What comes out of the arrest is the most important thing. It's not today we've been hearing tens numbers of people being arrested. I hope, especially when we have all these Chinese and Malaysians, I hope it's not something that we have heard this, what comes out of it. So it won't be something at the end of the day, somebody will stand from somewhere, I'm for this, I'm for that. The outcome of it is the most important thing. Because these 17 Nigerians we are talking about, in our localities now, you observe, I was watching over the weekend, I see several boys now. I was somewhere, somebody was just telling me, that guy, that was the time, if he goes to maybe club, he goes with millions, he spray money. But this same guy, he was looking for someone to give him some change. And if you see his look, everything, I said, what does he do? They say they use Yahoo Yahoo. And a boy like this, doing a thing that way, now is broke. He will think on how to get another one tomorrow.
Yes.
Once they are being arrested, what comes out of the arrest is the most important thing, because if A is arrested and others see the consequence, I think it will reduce the number. Not this one is connected to somebody, Before you know, you hear nothing, and it will go back to
Okay, we move to the next newspaper. Now let's go to the Leadership newspaper. Leadership, NYC 2 months after, NYC core members yet to get 77,000 naira allowance.
Well, the bottom line is that we were told a few weeks ago that they had gotten the said amount. But we are now hearing that 2 months after, they are yet to. The bottom line is that I hope relevant authorities will do all they need to do to see that they pay them at least the arrears that is being owed them. But again, you know, let's not always rush into passing judgments, because when the minimum wage thing was raised to 70,000 naira, you know, the bottom line is that budgets had already been passed. And definitely you may need to do viaments, you may need to submit supplementary budgets and what have you. So the issue for me here is that I am not one of those Nigerians that believe we're always wrong or we're on the wrong side of stuff. I mean, it's a human thing. It may take some time, but what is most important is that I hope at the end of the day, whatever arrears accrues that is due them will be paid. But the bottom line is that it's sad to hear that 2 months after.
But if you look at it now, you will see that it's just it's 7,000 naira above the approved minimum wage.
Well,
wouldn't they be grumbling?
You see, when I served, I think my allowance was 3.5. You see?
Yes.
So, you know, when I looked at it, I said, wow,
77K.
But when we served, my allowance was 3.5.
3.5.
You know, in fact, I was one of those that fought. Who was it? Brigadier General Bangboy or something. He was the DG then.
DG, yes.
Aisha Ismail was the Minister of Women Affairs, Youth Development that time. We fought, and our set didn't even benefit from it. I think it was after our struggle that the thing became 7,000 or 7,500 or something. So 77,000 naira today. I agreed, 77,000 naira, and looking at 3.5 of my own days. It almost comes, I think the 3.5
but
was
even at that time,
stronger.
what was the minimum wage then?
I can't remember, but the 3.5 as at that time is even stronger, sincerely, than what 77,000 naira of today is. Because this is why I say so.
Yes.
77,000 naira today can barely give you a full tank. But during our time, when my alawi was 3.5, I remember the capacity of my tank then was 70,000. And with less than 100 naira, you could fill your tank. So you can now see that 77,000 naira.
Mr. Kule, what will you have to say about this you call Alawi?
Well, it's been compared to just 70,000 different from the
you too, you
wage.
went through it.
Yes.
What was yours that time?
3,000 with bicycle allowance, everything 3,000 each. So, but now we know the value of money then compared to how the value is now. But most importantly, I think it's good for the government to do the needful. Let's not keep having this impression that they have said it, but they won't do it. No, just like if we go back to the issue of all these CNG
2 months
buses,
after, they are yet to implement
a
it.
government that really want to do it, what does it take? A month is enough. 2 months after giving an excuse, I think it's not. Even the DG NYC, was it maybe about 2 weeks ago? I know he came out to issue a statement on this that they are not yet this that.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
So if 2 months after, a serious government should have put things in place to make sure.
Remember, they made this pronouncement before one set passed out just last week or thereabout. So are they going to pay them the arrears of what they would have calculated and before they left? Because they are aware of the
normally once the pronouncement was made before they passed that, I think they are entitled to their payment. But that's why I keep saying something. Don't let it be business as usual, because you are there, you have not even gotten it. Talk less of you are no longer there.
No,
the process they will put you through again. Okay, I serve in Gombe. I finish, I've gone back to Lagos. You're asking me if I want to get my 77, something that I can as well get in my account. Oh, because I'm no longer there, I have to come, I have to go through this process with all this insecurity, whatever. They should just do.
Is it not a gunja for the boys?
And for me, doing the needful here, I mean, their statutory accounts and what have you is still with the scheme.
Yes.
So nobody needs to travel from point A to point B. citing what you just said, to be paid.
Nobody is supposed to travel.
No, I'm with
Because
you.
with this,
No, after
it might end up being-
if you passed out, of course you have to go.
You talked about the need to do the needful. I'm also with you as far as that is concerned. I hope that it will not be a gunje for the boys at the end of the day.
Well, still on that leadership, we have a story there. Falana wants charges against minors dropped.
I am very much with him. When the video hit the social media on Friday, I think it was, I was very, very dismayed when I saw the state of those children. What came to mind is, you will think these are kids that just came out of the concentration camps. When we watch those videos in World War I, World War II, it's very, very disheartening. And then to see minors being charged for treason, a lot of them don't even know the meaning of treason, let alone you subject a child to that kind of treatment. Quite honestly, as a Nigerian, I find it very heartbreaking that our own children were subjected to that kind of treatment. Look at the way these kids are looking. Agreed, bad behavior must be punished. Yes. I don't think those kids were being fed. That's what I think.
Yes.
You have kept these children for 90 days. Now you tell me, who did the legal work? How and where did you keep these children? Because as people started reacting to what happened, a lot of legal practitioners were of the opinion that they went around looking for where these kids were kept, but they could not be found. And then all of a sudden you're bringing these kids to court. And we're coming to show the world. I mean, is that our very best as a people?
And look at what even the police are saying. People who came to court and some of them fainted. He said it was an orchestrated.
How can it be orchestrated?
Okay.
There was no orchestration there.
What's
These
your
are
opinion
very
on this?
hungry children.
Well, it's a total shameful thing that we, as a nation, we are going through a thing like this. Bringing minors, charging them to court. Falana said the charges should be dropped. In the first place, why would they bring minors to court? Now, in those days, when we see things that is happening today, we still refer to things how it used to be in the past.
Yeah.
I remember sometimes if a child is even proving stubborn, there are places parents can take the child to, they call it, is it remand or something? Remand is not that maybe you are in a prison, but there is a way
It's
a
just
child
for
will be handled.
confinement.
Yes, and it changes.
And correctional.
Correct. Yes, but these days, putting minors in the prison for long. That day when I was watching them on TV, there was one on the ground as if maybe he was going to or she was going to faint, and a lawyer coming out later to say those are not the people. Let's check our conscience.
The correctional facilities came out to say those kids were not kept with them. That's another angle to this.
No, I don't even know if they were kept in the prison cost or
They were
correctional
not.
center.
They were not.
But the
They were
lawyer
not.
that came and
I
was
saw that.
defending, I said, and this person to probably have children? Well, I think Nigeria should just do the best thing now by. Falana said they should drop the charges.
I
They
think
shouldn't
they should
have
be
appeared in. They should just.
Unconditionally.
But all these children, now, can we have a child of one big man among them and they will be treated that way?
No,
It's
of
not
course,
possible.
not at all.
It's not
You-
possible.
It won't happen.
It's not possible.
You
So-
know, one of the parents even said that he thought his child had died until he said he thought the kid was killed until he saw his son on
Oh
TV.
my God.
Now that tells you that these are kids that come from the lowest of rungs of society. The bottom line is, the way I look at it, should bad behavior go unpunished? No. But again, can we begin to educate our children? Can we begin to bring the place of nationalism and patriotism back to the forefront as far as education is concerned? You see, part of what these kids are being charged for is the fact that they were flying the foreign flag.
Yes.
I can assure you these
Yes.
kids don't probably even know
They don't
import
even
of what
know.
they were doing. Yes, some of them destroyed government property, destroyed, looted, and what have you. But I think the conditions we've seen these kids are at, it's very dehumanizing. In fact, I just call on the president. I call on Mr. President to ask that these kids be released unconditionally, so that as a country we can move forward. The bottom line is that Mr. President is one of those Nigerians that found his way to power through demonstrations. Were those demonstrations carried out in the best of acceptable standards? No. We saw people destroying, looting, and that was not what that thing was all about. If you are demonstrating for bad governance, these kids that we are seeing today, do they know anything any better? They were born in bad governance. Majority of them are 16 and they were born in bad governance anyway. Do they even know the difference?
They don't know.
It's not like you and I. We were talking about 3-5 a short while ago.
Yes.
What 3-5 could do 25 years ago. And then you and I know what 3-5 can do today. These kids were not born within the best of happenstances.
Let me tell you,
as far as society is concerned.
For instance, when I was working in Lagos, my salary, if I can enter plane from Lagos to Calabar, 500 naira. Nigeria Airways, it will take you comfortably to Calabar by flight. But now, look, that's the same thing the same distance, we are now paying over 200,000 naira.
The bottom line is that the value of the naira has really been bashed. You and I know that.
Can we get it back?
Can we get it back? We can, but it will take some time. If we put in concerted efforts, we can take our country back. We can get the economy of this country back. All we need to do is, you see, if we can give credence to production, the day you and I start producing, I can assure you in no distant future, we can have a Marshall Plan. We'll get the economy of this country back in the next 7-8 years.
Can we take it back?
The economy of this nation can still be good, but it can't go back to how it used to be. That I know. Well, it can be better, but it can't go back. It can't go back to how it used to be.
We'll move to another newspaper now and see what they are saying there. We'll come back from this break and... okay, fine, I'm told that the paper is here. Why exporters are struggling. That is investigation by Vanguard. Then we have Asagba's 2, fierce legal battle looms. That is Asaba of Asagba, Asagba of Asaba.
That's right. Well, legal battle looms.
In a traditional setting.
A lot of that happens literally in every part of the country. Once a new monarch comes, you know, there are always things about... and what normally leads to most of these problems as far as Nigeria is concerned is because the government of the day tends to favor one
a particular person,
instead of leaving it to the kingmakers to do the needful. In most instances around Nigeria, why you have these legal battles after the enthronement of a new monarch is because the governor had a hand in who became the new monarch instead of the common...
the kingmakers,
you know,
coming
together
to
say this is the rightful owner of the stool. Hence, I hope we learn from this so that our traditional institutions, which is a very, very critical aspect of our national life, will, you know, bring the much-needed peace to domains around the country.
Well, let's go to the last newspaper before we round up this session. The next paper, so that we can round up. Daily Trust. Family of the same story that we just said, that is the least story in Daily Trust. Families of detained minors cry for justice. And that is very, very unfortunate.
It's very, you know, you can't overflow this matter. Most of the dailies today, this was what they led with. And this is not giving us a good image. Thank you for that word. And you know, this thing is international. This thing is everywhere. And then for any rightful person seeing what is going on, I can assure you, no matter the level of what have you that these kids did, if you see these are children who in most instances don't even understand the meaning of the word treason. The whole idea is that I hope UNICEF comes in.
One of the writers there, look at it there, I thought my son was dead.
That's what I was telling you.
You said it.
I hope UNICEF, if they don't release them, the whole world should come and talk to the government. I hope that UNICEF
okay, let's go
will find
to
its
the
way.
next story on Daily Trust there. As you can see there, landmine kills 7 loggers in Burma.
It's sad. We get to see these incidences, in mining sites and what have you. When it comes to ethics, whatever you find yourself doing, make sure that you give it its ethical pride of place. Quite often we try to cut corners. Quite often we try to see if we can shortchange the system, and it leads to loss of lives and property. The whole idea is that mining is a very professional thing. And in instances where you even do it from a professional standpoint, there are instances where accidents happen. But the bottom line is that some of these accidents are preventable.
Okay, when I look at it this way, land mine in Burma, and Burma is one of the areas where terrorists have taken over in the northeast. And how could you have imagined somebody going to do logging in that sort of place? Because you must be careful that there are mines everywhere.
Probably there are people that know that have been operating there before now. They know the terrain. But the point is, what happened there is not encouraging. It's not encouraging. But government should just, everything is centered on how we have been discussing, or what we have been discussing since. Areas where we are to make amends, we should just try and make amends and do the needful on everything.
If I can just add something, landmines are a part of the crisis in the northeast.
Yes.
That was what got those landmines there. Well, now that government knows, government needs to do the needful. And
They need
needful
to do
by
sweeping.
Going to sweep and clear that place. Because before you know it, you may hear that farmers are getting blown on their farm sites. In most instances, they may not have even known that those landmines were planted there by these insurgents. And hence, now that we know, the needful should be done.
All right, that's how we give it a wrap for this session. You just have to stay with us, stay watching, watch on our programs as we take them one after the other to you. I have had the pleasure of being with Alpha Jagdin,
Thanks
a
for
broadcaster, and Mr. Kunle Awoneyi, another broadcaster with me. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.